And as a new generation of veterans comes home, we owe them every opportunity to live the American dream they helped defend. Already we've made strides towards ensuring that every veteran has access to the highest quality care. We're slashing the backlog that had too many veterans waiting years to get the benefits they need. And we're making it easier for vets to translate their training and experience into civilian jobs.
The movie American Sniper has more at its core than a take on war. It is also very much about what happens when our veterans come home, what they face in being part of the real world again, and far too often that pull of returning to finish a job. All of this is part of the Veterans Administration, the medical treatment soldiers receive, and forces us to ask if anything has changed in what we've recently learned is the sometimes despicable treatment of these vets. Some reality, if you please. Welcome back to MidPoint. Veteran of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, former staff sergeant in the U.S. Army 82nd Airborne, senior fellow at the Independent Women's Forum, Amber Smith joins us on the show. Amber, pleasure to have you back on the show.
It is great to be back on the show, but I was a former chief warrant officer, too, in the 101st Airborne Division.
See, there we go. You have so many things that we could say, though, Amber. We have to kind of shorten them down a little bit, because if we gave all of your accomplishments in the military, we'd be here for 5 minutes. That's how good you are at your job. See?
No worries. No
but
worries.
I'm glad you pointed that out as well. We have talked. You and I've talked over several months here, and we've always looked at this. The president says things are getting better for vets. Are they?
I do not think that they are. Unfortunately, this bill that everyone worked so hard to pass last summer in August, that had the potential to do so much good for veterans, to give them that freedom of healthcare choice, and to go out and select their doctor if they were one of the groups of people, of veterans who were having to wait over that 30 days or lived more than 40 miles from a VA facility. They were then allowed to have the choice that our veterans deserve to go get proper health care. And instead, we're seeing the VA, which, you know, they haven't liked this program from the beginning. They don't believe in healthcare choice. They don't want veterans to sort of proceed with this healthcare choice option. So I don't think that there's been any change at this point for veterans.
Amber, I got to tell you, from what you're telling us right now, if we dig into a little detail here, it just sounds as if the American people and the veterans are being lied to.
Well, you know, I think that there was a lot of hype over this bill that was passed last summer, as if things were going to happen overnight and change. But really, we haven't seen the VA or Secretary Bob McDonnell focus on any of the two primary issues that were actually going to change inside the VA and make it a better organization for our veterans. And those two things are choice and accountability. And what are we already seeing with the budget? They're trying to undermine the Veterans Choice Program, where they're trying to take some of that money that was allocated of the $16 trillion bill, or sorry, $1 billion bill, and they're trying to take some of that money and put it back into standard VA, which is taking the money away from choice for veterans.
Amber, is it fair to say that we still have some lawmakers in Washington, and you mentioned the budget, when things like this come around and they start to look at various spending, they look at things like the VA bill, they look at mental health services, they look at certain things, and some of them will say, yeah, but not everybody needs it. It's not like every vet. It's good. We need to do this, but boy, I got pet projects here that got to be taken care of, and the veterans really can wait. Is it fair to say that we've got people doing that?
Well, it's not okay that people are doing that. Whenever it's, you know,
it's not okay, but they're doing it, though, aren't they? Isn't that just it? They're doing that as we speak.
Cycle. It's whenever something big comes in the news where, you know, some people, there are good people in Washington doing some good things that have been very helpful with attempting to reform the VA, but there's also some that are not. But yeah, what I would like to see out of this administration is ones who seem to care as much about the VA reform as they do about different issues with national security. Our veterans are the ones who have had to fight these wars, who have gone overseas and have made these sacrifices. When they come home, they deserve the best. They do not deserve to be put on the back burner and said, whenever we get around to it, we're going to make sure we get to it. You know, all we've heard is empty promises and this continual word game about we're going to take care of our veterans.
Well, that's just it, Amber. This has got to be exasperating to you, because I'll bet you that if we we were to pull back the tape of a conversation that we had months ago, we would be saying almost the exact same things as we're saying here today. This is getting ridiculous now. Who's in the way? There's got to, the buck stops somewhere. So where does the buck stop on this, where the veterans are not getting what they're due?
Well, it starts with Leadership 101 when you're at the top. The Veterans Administration Secretary Bob McDonald, he is working hard. I know that he is. There's still a lot of work to be done. But I think if we had a little bit more leadership out of the White House of saying, this is not acceptable. This VA under my administration, the way it's operating right now and how veterans are suffering because of it, that's not going to happen under my administration. And we're not seeing that kind of leadership out of the White House. We are seeing him continually say that veterans deserve the best. Okay, put your money where your mouth is. Let's fix it. We're not seeing much leadership from you on that.
Yeah, I got to tell you something. And somebody who comes from a military family, my dad was in the Army. I mean, this is despicable, just what is happening here, to not have the president, not have somebody be on this. This should be something every single day, because the last time I checked, veterans are still losing legs and arms and eyes, and they're still coming home in pieces, and a lot of them are coming home in boxes, and we don't have people out here basically saying this has got to stop. How am I doing so far?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're still very much at war. And as we see the downsize of our military that is happening right now as we speak because of budget cuts, the easiest thing to cut is personnel instead of actually getting into some of the reforms that need to be made inside of the DoD. So what are we seeing? We're going to see a large, basically a large group of people leaving the military. And guess what? They're going to enter into the VA system. So the VA isn't going to get this like break after these wars are over or after we downsize. It's only going to get worse. And until they can figure it out, veterans are going to continue to suffer.
I only got about 30 seconds left. What's your comment about Jesse Ventura, where he talked about the hero label given to Chris Kyle and he said Nazis have heroes too?
I think that no one should ever give that guy any more airtime because I could care less what he thinks. We all know the kind of man that Chris Kyle was. He was a true American hero, and I'm not like, I don't want to talk about Jesse Ventura. I don't think that he matters in this situation. Chris Kyle's who is what matters, and he's a great American.
Well put. I'll do that, and we'll leave it there. Amber, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much. Let's hope once again that somebody takes a leadership role and gets out there and fights for our veterans every single day. We'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Take care. Break and back with more than a few questions about those mysteriously rising gas prices. Weren't we told that gas was still going to get cheaper? Much more, of course, on the side of Bulls, Bears, and Bucks when MidPoint continues.